Yeah, sorry guys. I think someone is asking me how to set up this type of environment. Okay. Yeah, can you be more clear, Prasad, on this one? Like, what do you exactly mean setting up this type of environment? Is it in terms of IDE, like the one which we are using it right now, or else about the integration with the AWS from the local machine? IDE. Yeah, when it comes to IDE, right? You can download any IDE of your wish. Like most of the people prefer Visual Studio Code. Okay, you can download it from here, Visual Studio Code, VS Code, and it is having both. You can download it directly and you can install it. Okay, once you install it, you will be getting this thing. And okay, once you install it, you will be getting this VS Code, and you can see it here. Like when you type VS Code, it will be showing it here. You guys know how to install the software in Windows, right? Or you want me to show that as well? Prasad, Prasad, can you please respond, please? You want me to show how to we install? Okay. Yeah, let me download this. I won't be installing. I will just show you the process. Okay. See, when I click on download, it is asking me for the options. Like, is it a Mac OS or else a Red Hat or a Debian OS like this? And then since it is for Windows, I will be clicking on Windows. Okay. When I click on Windows, it will be downloading some exe file. Here you can see, right? A exe file is getting downloaded. Okay. This is take couple of seconds. I think 10 more seconds left. Once it is downloaded, see, once it is downloaded, just double click on it. So in order to install, you need to have admin rights on the machine. I hope you will be having admin rights on your personal machines for sure. And when you double click on this, it will open something like this. See, this is showing setup as already detected a Visual Code Studio Code. So what I do is I will close this. Okay. Now I got something like this. I accept the agreement. Next. Okay. And you need to select this option, add path. Okay. And if you want to create a desktop icon and all, you can have it. And these all things like register code editor has all the supported file types. These all things is optional based on your requirement. You can select these things. Okay. So what does this option mean is register code as an editor for supported file types. So what it actually does is, see, let's suppose I'm going here to some document. Okay. So when I right click here, when I type open with, it will show me some options, right? See, come here, right click, open with. It is showing notepad and it want to set some other app for IDE. So if you want to use something with the VS code like this, like when you type open with and it want to show it like that, you can select this option as well. So whenever you are trying to open some file, it will ask whether you want to open with a VS Code or a notepad like that. For those options, this particular option is enabled, and this is for like in the Windows Explorer directory context. In the Explorer, it will be when you search, it will be showing, and the context menu, add open with code action to the Windows Explorer file. When you add this open with code, what happens is like when you click on some file here, it will show like open with code directly for those options it is and creating a desktop icon. So this is mandatory. Add to path. If you don't add it, what happens is like every time you won't be able to open it from the command prompt. You need to open it locally from the Explorer only. And then we go to next, and when we click on install, this VS code gets installed. Okay. I'm canceling it by because it is already installed on my machine. Is it clear, Prasad, for you? Shab and Prasad? The way we download and install, is it clear? Do you have any questions here? So I hope you can do that install. Okay, now I'm opening the VS Code, and once you install it, see, currently I did not install any providers here. Like if you want that beauty of the IDE is, okay, I don't want to say anything. See, the beauty of the IDE is, yeah, I'm going to that only, Sindhuja. Yeah, you can install some extensions. Okay, see, you won't be configuring AWS and all. See, basically, you will be having some extensions like IDE is for development. Okay, when you type AWS, you are getting AWS CLI configure extension. If you install this, what happens is like it will directly open the credentials file config. You can see like what is the advantage of these things, everything, what all extensions you want. You can install it from here. And this is a third party extension. So it is something developed by Mark Tucker. Okay, it's not a official one. So when you are installing this third party extensions, you need to make sure what all you are doing. Okay. So like this, for Terraform, you can have something called Terraform extensions we have. Okay. This will help you in while writing Terraform language, it will help you in auto-filling the things. Not exactly, but it will help. And you need to go with Terraform with AWS. Okay, here if you say at syntax highlighting, it will help you in highlighting the syntax. Okay. So this image is not getting displayed to see. Basically, it will highlight all the syntax things. Like wherever there is some issue or something, you can easily identify. Like this, you can install many extensions of your code so that it will be displaying you if there is some error and all. Okay, this is how we do it. And Sindhuja, is your question is configuring AWS CLI on your machine or in the VS Code? In the VS Code, we just install the extensions. That's it. And you need to make sure once you configure AWS CLI, you will be able to communicate with the AWS machine. Okay, like this, you can install everything. Okay, whatever code you are writing. Let's suppose if you are writing some Python code, you can install Python extensions, which will be helping you. See here, I already have this Python linting, debugging, everything. Okay, it's already installed. So it will help you. This Python indentation is there, right? This is also installed. What happens is like when you type indentation, when you are clicking enter in the next line, it will be taking this indentation properly, like that. It will help you in writing your code in a easier manner. There are n number of extensions. Okay, you just go a reference of it and whatever things you are working on, right? Just check this. If you are working with Terraform, you have n number of extensions. You click on it, it will show what is this particular thing do. See, when you install this extension, what it is doing is when they are typing it, it is giving them options like what to type and all. Okay, like this, it will help you. On my machine, this particular plugin is corrupted. I need to reinstall the components. Okay, like this, it will help you in writing. Like it will show you the options, like what all options you can do and all. So whatever extension you want, right, you can just select it directly from here and you can install it. It will help you in writing the code in a easier way. Like you don't need to remember most of the things, but you need to know the schema, like how do you write the syntax, everything. But by looking here, it is showing, right, when he's typing these things, what all options it is having, those all things it will display you. So based on that, whatever you want, you can select it. Okay, is it clear or you want me to go deep in the IDE part? I just given an overview. Once you start installing on your machine and once you start typing the things, writing the code, you will understand the things. Is it clear, guys, with the IDE? Or do you have any questions? There are multiple IDEs in the market. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Hamad. Yeah, coming to this Terraform code, yesterday we discussed on how do we write a provider. Why do we need provider is like Terraform is a multi-cloud agnostic tool. When I say multi-cloud tool, it is being used by multiple clouds like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. Okay. So when you are using AWS, you need to have a provider which will help you to write resource blocks for AWS. That's the reason we use this AWS provider and in which region you want to deploy the resources. This thing we will be giving it here. Okay. And then there is one file called variable.tf. Here we can define the variables. It's not mandatory to define here only. You can even define the variables in any of these files. Okay. But this is the best preferred structure that people follow. Okay. And then coming to the resources, first we created a provider and then we created a VPC, and what all variables are there, those all variables created here we have defined in the variable.tf, and then we created a subnet, and then we created a route table, and then we created the internet gateway and we attached the internet gateway to the route table. So once we have done this, the what happened is, okay, so these all things has been done for us. So when I do Terraform apply now, as we deployed already these things, it won't be modifying anything. Okay. So it is saying plan 7 to add, and then 0 to change, 0 to destroy. And it is showing there are 7 components to add it. I think it has been deleted from the account. Oh, sorry. I'm with the different AWS profile. AWS profile equal to demo. Okay. Now when I do this plan, before that, let's confirm whether we are with the this command will help us to check with which account we logged in and with which user we are in, or with which role we logged in. Okay. So now we are in the proper account. Now if I do this Terraform apply, it needs to show like 0 changes. Why? Because these all things has already been there in our AWS environment. Okay, see, there are no changes. Infrastructure is up to date. Now, when I do this Terraform apply, okay, apply complete, 0 resources added, 0 resources changed. This is the beauty of the Terraform. Like once you create some resource, right, in the Terraform, it will compare the existing resources in the AWS with this particular state file. Okay, this state file is a JSON based structure Basically, you won't be able to see it directly in this way since it is the IDE and we have required extensions for this. We are able to see it in this way. So here you will be seeing all the information like what all resources we created, what all the details, everything. But all those details will get stored in the Terraform state file. So whenever you run this Terraform apply or else Terraform plan or anything, what happens is like it will compare your state file with the infrastructure. I mean with the AWS infrastructure. If there are any changes identified, then it will be deploying the things. If there are no changes, it won't be deploying anything. Let's see, like what I will do now is, okay, we are into the console and here uh, in the VPC, we'll have something called internet gateway. I will just delete it and see now what is going to happen. Okay, first we need to detach from the VPC. I'm detaching from the VPC. Okay, now I am deleting it. Delete internet gateway. Okay, now I want to show you the advantage of the mm, infrastructure as a code. What it does is, so I'm deleting this internet gateway, the VPC what we have created, right? These all things I'm deleting. I will need to do one at a time. So, okay, I'm deleting this VPC, so all the components related to VPC also gets deleted. Okay, now I'm deleting everything. Okay, now all the components what we have created has been deleted. So as per this Terraform state, right? It need Terra when we run this Terraform, it will expect these particular resources to be there. But we have deleted all these resources. Okay. So when I do this Terraform apply again, let's see what happens. So before apply, let's do the plan. Let me do the plan first so that it will help you in seeing all the things. So it is saying there are 7 resources to add. Okay. Now, when I do this Terraform apply, this all things gets created as it is with the configuration we described. Okay. Now it is creating everything step by step. Now all the resources which we have deleted, right, has been created as per our code, demo VPC and all. Okay. Now next time when I do the apply again, what happens is it won't be changing anything. It won't be adding anything. It won't be deleting anything, destroying anything, basically. Okay, it is refreshing the state and there is nothing to add here. Okay, this is one advantage of infrastructure as a code. When you write your infrastructure in the code, okay, you can maintain the same replica of your configuration in, like you can maintain the same configuration. If someone removes something, you don't know, in an organization many people will be working on multiple things. and some people might have deleted something and some component may not be working. We are not sure why the application is not working. Something might have get deleted in between. Okay, so when you use this kind of resources like infrastructure as a code, and then once you deploy the same thing again, it will compare the state file with the existing infrastructure. If something is not as per the state file, it will try to update the infrastructure and it will make the infrastructure comes in a specific state like how it was there before. Like it's hard to manage these things manually, right? You don't know which component is gone. You need to go, like this is like simple thing, internet gateway, route table and all. When you go with the complex applications, there are multiple things integrated with each other, right? So that is the one of the major and main advantage of using infrastructure as a code. And coming to this Terraform commands, I didn't show you like what are the commands we are having. I'm just running the commands. Okay, like Terraform init, why do we use this? Terraform plan, why do we use this? See, Terraform is typo. Okay, and then Terraform apply, why do we use this? And then what else we have? Terraform state list. Okay, and Terraform state show. Okay, Terraform rm, it's to remove some resource from the state file and all. Okay. Mm, yeah, the command is Terraform state rm. Okay, and even you can use this Terraform. There are multiple commands. I think this is enough for now. Replacing provider, Terraform state show. Yeah, yeah. This Terraform state init, what it does is it will initialize the provider and other needed resource blocks, like which are not come with the provider. And if you are using some additional resource blocks, this will be initializing these things. Okay. When we talk about this Terraform plan, it will show what all the things getting deployed, modified, or deleted. Okay. When we do this Terraform apply, what it does is like it will deploy the resources as it shown in the plan. Okay. That is the reason we use this Terraform apply command. And coming to this Terraform state list, what it does is like it will show all the resource blocks, all the resource blocks or resources which are deployed in the cloud environment. Since Terraform can be used for Kubernetes as well, not only for cloud, we can use it for anything. You just need to know how to program the things. Okay, and if you, this will help to get the information from the specific resource block which is deployed. So when I say it will help to get the information, means information or details, like what is that resource, what all the details of the resource. I will show you this command, and I won't be running this one. This is to remove resource block from state file. Okay, when we remove something from the state file, next time when we run it, Terraform won't control it. Okay. when we remove it, next time this Terraform won't control these things. I mean, like this particular resource block, whatever we remove it from the state file, like if you see this, let me do a clear screen. Now Terraform state list, right? It will be displaying the resource blocks which all got deployed. Okay, if you remove something from this particular resource block, I mean by using Terraform state RM, this resource will be there in the AWS, but you won't be able to manage it from the Terraform. Okay, that's the reason. For that purposes this particular state is used to state RM. Okay, to lose the control from the Terraform we use it. Okay, and Terraform state show. See, if you want to look this VPC details, like what exactly is this VPC, you don't need to log into console also. Terraform state show, and this one if I type, it will show me all the information related to VPC. What is the CIDR block assigned, what is the ACL it is using, what is the route table, and what is the security group, what is the there's a DHCP options, it is enabled by default, is there any classic link for DNS support and all. These all things it will show. These all things you can see from the console as well when you click on VPC, but here it will be in the UI format like tenancy, the HCP options, route table, IPv4 6, IPv CIDR, owner ID. This is the account, okay, account ID. These all things, whatever you are seeing here, right? The same thing you will see it here in a JSON format. Okay, that is the advantage of using this one. And you are pretty aware of these commands, right? Terraform init, Terraform plan, and Terraform apply. Are these commands clear for you? Yeah, I see one question here. There is any time limit to restore as previous? Like how much, what do you mean by that question? Can you please tell me in detail? Okay, we deleted VPC. Yeah, then for restoring, you mean like okay, when we delete and when we are creating, it's the generic time how much it took for creating the same way. Compared to manually when you deploy it from the code, it does very fast. If you see here, when we deployed it, everything got deployed in 3 to 5 seconds. VPC, route table, subnet, internet gateway, everything. And we attach, we configure routes and all. Okay. And there is one more command called Terraform Validate. Someone has remembered me. Prasad, good. I think yesterday you observed this. I'm running this command. Yeah, nice. Nice for letting me know. This Terraform validate command is used to validate the Terraform code. Okay, like if you see here, now I will do Terraform validate. Sorry, there is a typo. So this will check whether the code what we have written is proper or not. Okay, if let us say now I am modifying this variable with one name. Okay, now if I do this Terraform validate, I'm getting this error. Why? Because in the CIDR block, I'm using this variable, but this variable is nowhere declared. Why? Because I changed this name. Like this, is there any syntax errors? Like the way you define these all things, it will help to identify. Terraform validate. Okay, now it is success. That is the main use of using this Terraform validate command. Is it clear, guys? Hamad, is your question clear? Am I able to answer your question, Ahmad? Yeah, okay. Yeah, and yeah, like yesterday we created these route tables and then we associated route table with the subnet. Okay. So when I talk about this route table and these components, right? See, yesterday we thought of creating public subnets as well, private subnets as well. And if you see in the subnet configuration, we have created these private subnets and there is no route created yet. So if I want to create a route for a private subnet, how can I do it? Let's do these things. First, we need to create a route table, and then we need to assign the route table with the subnet. These are the two ways we'll be doing it. I don't want to type the code again as we have it already. Now I am showing how we will be writing it for the private subnet. Okay. This is like private route one. Okay. So here, what we will be doing is we are creating a private like private subnet we have created. In order to make it private, we need to enable some routes, right? So those things we are creating now. Okay. So coming to this, in the private subnet, we are not giving any external route, right? So this thing will be like this only. We are just attaching with the VPC so that it will communicate with the VPC. And coming to this subnet, right? We need to change the subnet. So private subnet one dot ID we need to use, and route table ID, like which route table we need to use, the one which we are creating for private subnet. Okay. AWS underscore route table dot PRI spelling mistake. Okay. PRIVA. Yeah. Private route one. TE hyphen. Okay. This particular thing we are using. Let me save the file. AWS underscore route table private hyphen route one dot ID. Okay. This is where we create the private subnet. We are not, since why it is private, it doesn't need a route with the internet gateway, and we don't need to attach any internet gateway and all. That's the reason we are making it as a private, and this is the way we create a private subnet. And coming to this route table association, this block number should be the PR1, private route one. Why? Because the public route we already associated with some other name, right? Like this. Okay. Now when I come here, now this is for private route 2. So yeah, the only thing what it changes is this subnet ID and this particular route. Okay. Now let's check whether our configuration is valid or not. It's valid. And let's see what it does. Terraform plan. Okay, it is adding 4 resources. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 resource blocks we created, right? Those 4 it is adding. Okay. Now when I do this Terraform apply, so see, this is refreshing the state file. That means it is comparing the current state with the AWS resources, whether everything is fine or not. By looking at the comparison, it understood based upon this code, it needs to add 4 more resources. When I type S, it will be deploying these things. Okay. So whatever we are doing now is related to AWS networking, and it is a particular service for used in AWS networking is called VPC, which is nothing but virtual private cloud. Okay. And so now these 4 resources got deployed. So you can see all those information here coming to the route tables, right? See, these are our route tables. This one, and this one. These 3 are our route tables. Okay, we didn't pass any name here. We just created it. Okay, and how do you identify whether it is a public or private? By looking at the route. If something route is local, that means local is communication within the VPC, means a private subnet. So this sub particular route is used for a private route. Okay. And coming to here, when you see the route, it is also within the VPC. This is also a private route for a private subnet. And when you check here, there is a route for going traffic to internet as well. That means this is the public route, and the subnet associated with this is the public subnet. Like you can see subnet association here. Okay, subnet associations here, this here, and this is the public subnet. In the same way, you can check the private subnet as well. Okay, this is the private subnet. Okay, is it clear, guys? Till now, any questions? If you have any questions, please ask. I don't want you guys to get confused. Yeah, can someone please respond, please? Thanks, Ahmad. Okay, so do you guys know what is AWS VPC, or you want me to tell, or can I go with the next phase of coding? Why? Because I'm not sure. I didn't took your previous classes. I just want to make sure you guys knows the things what we are doing. You guys are clear about VPC concepts and all, right? Okay, I'm going to the next phase of the coding. Subnets and security groups. Have you guys know security groups? No. And what about security groups? You use security groups. You are clear on that. Okay, fine. Yeah, let me tell you something about NACLs before. See, there is difference between security group and NACLs. Since I am not having any presentation, let me type these things. Okay, NACL means network access control list, and security groups. Security groups is a security group only. Like okay, this will allow communication at subnet or a CIDR level. This will allow communication. Let me write it in this way. NACL. Okay, this will allow communication at ENI level. ENI means elastic network interface. Okay, so this one is called stateless. People say, what is stateful, stateless? I will explain you what is this. Security group. See, this is the basic question. Is security group is stateful or stateless? Security group is stateful. What is stateful? What is stateless? I will tell you. Okay. See, the actual is stateless and this is stateful. Okay. So security group by default, it will block everything. NACL by default, it will allow everything. Okay. For NACL, for each and every request, for each and every request, you need to configure a response as well. Okay. Here, since it is stateful, right? You don't need to, like for every request, you will be getting a response automatically. That is the reason it is stateful. That is the reason that is stateless. For every request, you will get the response automatically. Okay. So are you guys clear about this NACL and security group? The difference between these things? Like by default, it will allow all the traffic, whereas security groups by default it will block everything. You need to enable the things like security groups works at the ENI layer. That means Elastic Network Interface, which is nothing but a network interface. What is network interface? I don't know whether you guys know. Let me show you. Like if I type this something called IP config, right? I'm getting this IP address. This IP address is something which is configured at the network interface level. So security group allow things at the network interface level, not at the subnet level. Subnet level traffic is being controlled, but you can allow in the network interface, you can even allow particular subnet to be passed in the security group. But the purpose is like the security group will be allowed control only at the network interface level. If you define it on a security group and if you attach it, you will be attaching it to a some network interface only. You won't be attaching it at a subnet level. Whereas in NACLs you create, right, it is at the subnet level. It will be applying to the entire subnet. Okay, that is the major difference between the security group and the NACLs. Any questions on these two topics? This is purely a VPC related to the AWS VPC. Is networking related concepts. All these. Okay, and let me show how NACL looks before we I will show how to create them as well. How do you create see in the security we have two things: network ACLs, network access control list, and security groups. Okay, when I click on this network ACL, see this is the VPC. By default, it will allow everything. Okay, here if you see there are two rules, right? One is the allow rule 100 and it is allowing everything. The second thing is deny rule. Okay, so here the whenever you configure rules, right, here there will be some numbering. So which ones you want to allow, which traffics you want to deny. By default it will be inbound and outbound, right? It will allow everything and deny everything. Deny apart from this, like it this rule works based upon the order. So if there are 10 rules, it will be coming one after the other, like 100, 101, 102, 103. So let's suppose a particular cider called A is trying to come into our network. It will check first at the rule number 100 whether A is allowed to access or not. If A is allowed to access, it will not allow. Allowed to access, it will make the communication enable and it will allow particular A cider or IP address to come into our network. Okay. If it is not allowed to access, it will go to the next rule like 101. There it will check if whether it is allowed to access or not. If it is allowed to access, it will bring the connection in, or else it will go and check for the next rule. In that order, how many rules you define, it will check everything. If it doesn't matches anything, at the end we will have something called deny rule, which will block it. Okay, so whatever, so this one is being evaluated in a particular order by based upon the numbers you define. So you need to make sure how you are defining these ACLs, and you need to make sure you define in a proper order. Let's suppose you have a deny rule at the first, okay, and you have the allow rule at the end. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Because it will come to the second rule, it will go and it will look for the deny and it will deny everything. So deny should be the last thing, and the order how you want to allow, you need to plan accordingly and you need to allow it. Okay, that is how this security group, this NACLs are configured, not security groups. And since we are allowing everything for this particular request, right, we will be having a response here. Okay, and for this particular request, we'll be having a response here for this particular thing outbound. Okay, so this is the request and the response what we are taking it. This is also from everywhere we are taking. Okay, that is how this looks. When we talk about security groups, see here there is some security group here. See, for this one, by default outbound is allowed everywhere. Okay, that is why it is stateful. I won't show this one. I will create one new security group and I will show you how it looks. Okay, SG1 something something I'm giving, which VPC. So whatever it is, we doesn't care. See, by default, when we are creating itself, it is allowing everything outbound. Okay, that is the default behavior. You can control the behavior, but this is the default behavior when we talk about it. So see, by default, it is blocking everything. We are not allowing anything inside. If you want, you can create it. And it by default, it is allowing everything. So what the thing is like, the request and response is automatically configured for this. If you want, you can control the things, but for security group, it won't be looking for a request and a response. It's already done at the ENI level. So for every request, you will get a response for sure. Okay. So here you don't need to worry about request and response. Here the outbound traffic is like communicating with the outbound only, not with the not related to the response part. Whereas in the NACL it is related to the response. The request you send, when you are getting response, from which sources you are allowing the response. Those all things it is taken there. Okay. That is the main difference between security group and the NACLs. Is it clear, guys? Hello. Okay. Okay. So I feel we can end the class here today. If you have any questions, please let me know. And tomorrow I will show you how do we create this security group and how do we create NACLs, and then we go with the creating of EC2 instances. Like if we start going into the Terraform, there are a lot of things. I will try to cover basics. Like it will help you to write your code on your own also. Okay, I will show you this network component end to end, and then I will show you creating a load balancers with auto scaling groups. Okay, and after that we'll close the Terraform thing. And one more thing, what we do is like Terraform backend. Just remind me if I forgot to say, how do we initialize Terraform backend? Okay, I will remember, but in the flow, if I forgot, just remind me. I will show that as well. Okay, any questions for today's class? Is everything what I told is clear for you guys?